Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. This week we have a lot to talk about, and some of it's even magic. I know that's been a request. I can already hear Jason clinking his glass over there. It's a new ice cream bowl.
No, there is no ice cream bowl.
There's no replacement for the ice cream bowl.
The closest you can get is like a soggy bag of B-dubs.
What you're telling me is how irreplaceable I am, and I appreciate it.
Yes, that's the interpretation.
Well, I'll say this. We have gotten some comments over the past couple weeks that we haven't done enough Magic Finance. And, look, I get it, but the fact of the matter is it's been really slow.
Our Patreon has steadily climbed, and our download numbers are up over that period, so I think it's you. It's not us.
Look, I'm not saying that. I'm not surprised Jason is.
Yes, we are.
I do think that it is better to put out a fun podcast that is tangentially related to Magic than it is to have a podcast where you force something on a week where it's just not there.
I don't know. Let's ask the guy who pays just as much as 40 other people.
Yeah, that's what I was leaning toward. We had some Magic this week. There's definitely some stuff to talk about. And on that note, I want to welcome Steven to the show. Steven, you're a patron. You've been a patron for a long time. We really appreciate it. So thanks for guesting tonight.
Can you guys hear me?
God damn it. What did you do?
I have no idea what happened.
Get your dick right, Kessner.
Sorry.
He apologized to me.
I did. Wait, shut up. I pay you $40. Apologize to me. That's the right way that this should be done. As a $40 patron, I get to come in here once every 3 months, drink a beer, and if I want to tell Jason to shut the hell up, I get to tell Jason to shut the hell up, not apologize.
That is true.
Well, you did apologize.
I know. Show my true colors. That's embarrassing.
Whackity schmackity doo. Well, you did owe us all an apology for, I don't know, we threw it to you, we got a guest tonight, and you're like, Burr.
I jumped right in, and I was hitting it full stride, too, and just completely shit the bed.
Hey, man, you brought it back a little bit. I appreciate that. But anyway, so we've got you on this week. Thank you for guesting. We've got a lot to talk about. I mean, did you play any of the Ravnica Allegiance stuff last weekend?
My intention was to, but I ended up going to San Francisco to a heavy metal mariachi concert and then sprinting through the city to get back to the garage in time to get my car out. So no, unfortunately I missed it.
I'm going to show how unhip I am here. What the hell what did you say, metal mariachi?
It's a heavy metal mariachi band that plays covers of 80s and 90s hair band music and grunge music. They go all over the country.
That story took like 10 seconds, and it was better than any Corbin has ever told.
No, don't laugh. You just have to let him know that his jokes are bad and he's not funny.
It wasn't a joke. It was just true.
That was just a statement.
Even Jason was there with the clutch silence.
I was actually trying to come up with like a pun based on the name of a metal band, plus like give it like a little Mexican stank on there to make it funny because it's a mariachi band. And the best I could come up was Panteria, and that's not that great.
Sure thing, Jason. Well, I did pre-release a little bit. I had fun. I mean, I didn't really have anything special to say about it. It wasn't particularly interesting pre-release or anything like that. What about you guys?
I played 4 in a row, and I would have played 5, but there was a blizzard warning.
Yeah, DJ, I want to hear about this Ironman pre-release thing your LGS has going on.
Yeah,
Wait. I got one.
Okay.
Judas Priest.
That's not bad. It's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad.
Okay, so the largest store in our area has a challenge called the Ironman Challenge every set release. And so the gimmick is that you show up for the midnight pre-release, and then you play in 5 consecutive events. And if you manage to play in the first 4, and this time they added the clause that you have to play 16 rounds, then your last event is free. Which, for me, it's not about the EV. It was just about the Rakdos-esque masochism, I guess. But Emily signed up for it, and then I felt obligated to join her in the escapade. And so we went there at around 9 o'clock at night. I got a cube draft in, which was nice. And then we played in 4 consecutive pre-releases. One of the rules was that you have to pick a different guild each time, so you can't just play 4 Rakdos kits or whatever. You have to pick 5 different kits. And so we both dredged our way through 4 consecutive pre-releases, and by the time it was like 5 or 6 at night, the mall that the store is in forcibly removed us from the venue because there was a blizzard coming, and they were shutting the mall down completely. So we did not get to play the 5th one, but it was a lot of fun, and we're never doing it again. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, here's what got me. You said midnight, sure, I get that. You're gonna play a couple more Saturday, sure, whatever, right? But 5 a.m. on Saturday?
Yes, so it was midnight, and then there was 4 hours in between each one. So it was midnight, 5 a.m., 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and the last one was supposed to be at 5 p.m., but that one is when I got canceled.
Did you sleep at all? When did you sleep?
I got about a 10-minute nap in between the second and the third one. It was either in between 1 and 2 or in between 2 and 3. I can't remember. But I got like a 10-minute nap in, and that was the total amount of sleep I got during.
That's crazy, man. Look, I don't mind doing the midnight pre-release and not getting home till 6 or 7 or whatever, right? But I cannot possibly imagine at that time turning around and trying to do it again. That's
now. Yeah. Were you having to play in like the 3rd one or the 4th one? Were you having to play with people that were coming in fresh?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it was rough. I also went climbing that Friday night, so. My schedule was like work all day Friday, go to the gym, go home and shower, and then go to the LGS, and then play 20 hours of Magic, and then go home, and then I ended up going to bed at around like 8 o'clock on Saturday night.
I don't even know how I can't do that. I can't stay up like that, man. I just never had the ability.
I also don't like drink energy drinks or coffee or anything like that. It was just water and like power bars and.
DJ got through it on the strength of his will alone.
And meth.
No, the worst part of it was losing to the one guy at 4:30 in the morning of event number 1 who's tried to rules lawyer me at a pre-release at 4:30 in the morning about like playing the wrong land and quickly taking it back or something like that, or
you're a cheater, DJ.
Yeah. And then I had to politely and sternly explain to him what a rules enforcement level was, and then because he was not a good player, I got to do that multiple times throughout the rest of the round. For example, he wanted to decide whether he was on the player draw after looking at his hand, and so I gave him a very stern reminder of, hey, you can't do this, but it's okay because it's a pre-release, and that happened 4 or 5 times. So even though I got mana screwed in game 3 and just sat there and played no spells, and then let him berate me about why I should have played more lands in my 17 land 5-color deck, yeah.
You need to play more lands there, guy. You would have probably been a winner there.
One of the highlights of the events, though, was listening to the guy who built a 60-card deck explain to an even newer player why that was the correct decision.
I like that.
Hey,
go into the shop.
Machine Head.
That's actually not bad. That one's pretty good.
Yeah.
Took you long enough.
Yeah. Going to the shop is one of the... It's my worst experiences playing Magic. There's too many moronic dipshits, and I can't handle it.
There are too many opportunities for me to be a dick wearing a Brainstorm Brewery hoodie.
I gave somebody a free, what's this card called? The Gruul Spellbreaker or something like that, because he was obsessed with finding 4 copies. He was trading out Shocklands and other crazy mythics for this, and I just gave him one because I didn't need it, and he acted like I had... like bailed his wife out of jail or something like that. I don't know. He was way too thankful, and I was just like, look, man, it's 5 a.m. I don't have time. Just take the card. Just pay it forward.
5 a.m. Go bail your own wife out of jail.
In your scenario, what is she in jail for at 5 a.m? D&D.
I don't know, man.
Oh, I'm
not.
I need backstory.
See, he has no improv chops. You can't put him on the spot like that.
Yeah, I did. But you know why I put him on this on the spot? Because I pay $40. If I want to put Coach DJ on the spot, I'll put him on the spot.
Oh, this is my favorite. I'm enjoying this.
We don't charge enough for our Patreon at patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery for as little as $1 a month, which works out to 20 or 25 cents an episode. You can have access to our Discord channel where we're going to give DJ a hard time for letting our guests come on here and
You were talking earlier about one person calling your school with some disappropriate information.
Disappropriate.
Disappropriate.
Yeah.
He said it.
That's
I said
true.
it and I
I
knew it was
did.
wrong as I was saying it, but I don't really care. And so I am looking at the Patreon page right now, and if I can control F your name right here, and then hit the show address button.
He will dox you.
You dox me on my own guesting podcast.
Oh,
Wow.
this is a new one.
You've been on this podcast more than Ryan.
People send Corbin sex dolls. What do you think they'll do to you?
Speaking of addresses, who do I have to talk to get my dang glasses?
I sent them.
Oh, those tokens in Playmat came quickly, didn't they?
They did. And I even tweeted that out.
I sent your glasses.
Thank you, sir.
Are you just pretending not to have gotten them?
I swear. No, Jason, I'm 100%. They never came. I'm not trolling you, I promise.
That's funny.
Where's my tracking number?
I think the canned answer here is send us an email and we'll have the intern take care of it.
Nice.
Jason will just as long as the intern puts you on the list, Jason or DJ or me or whatever we're sending stuff out. If you're on the list, you'll
Corbin
get it.
doesn't send things out. That's a lie.
Dude, I'm about to. I've got 500 bubble mailers that Marianne was not happy that DJ ordered for me.
Yeah, cause somehow
because you put them in a stack and your dumbass kid climbed on them and fell off. It's DJ's fault.
I had a bunch of boxes. Yeah, this is what happened. Marianne comes to me. We're just sitting and talking one night, and she goes, "You got to get those boxes out of the entryway. Ben was climbing on them today. I walked in there and found him." And I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And she was like, "What is all that crap, anyways?" I was like, "Well, most of it's my computer, blah blah. Because I ordered a new computer, blah blah blah, right?" And I'm like, "Oh." And then she goes, "Well, we also got more mailers in today. Why the hell do you need 500 mailers?" And I was like, "I don't know, blame DJ." And she goes, "Well, why don't you just ask DJ why the hell he needs to send you 500 bubble mailers?"
Your wife just sounds mean, man.
Yeah, she's coming across as not a cool person.
Your wife is just mean.
I should, yeah.
She doesn't respect your interests or hobbies at all.
No. He's just building up for when she has to come on the podcast.
Yeah, right. No, look, she definitely respects my hobbies and all that stuff. She just doesn't want my shit in the entryway. It was pretty simple. It was pretty straightforward.
Yes,
She
that's
doesn't
my
like
fault.
DJ, and she doesn't realize who she's talking to.
She moved it out to the garage, and everything's solved now.
Oh, did those get sublimated too with your fucking...
All I know is any story that ends with somebody besides
Great
me,
save.
any story with somebody that ends with somebody besides me doing the work, it's a great story. So Marianne took care of it, and
Don't put them out in your shed, man. They're gonna get stolen because you bought your lock at the same place you bought that Craigslist refrigerator.
No, I full disclosure, I'll say this: my wife is great.
Hey, why don't we do Breaking Bulk now so the people don't turn this podcast off? Because we're having too much fun talking with our friends, and that's a real bummer to some people.
Yeah.
I need to hear about my friends in Europe where I can get Russian foils from them.
Hey, you know what? Hey, listen to this. Instead of turning the podcast off, go to patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery. Give us $10 a month, which is $2 or $2.50 an episode, and you can have access to the spreadsheet where we put our Breaking Bulk and our pick of the week in the spreadsheet. You don't even have to listen to the podcast.
That's the pitch.
Yeah. If it's so arduous to hear us,
Did you say $2 to $2.50 an episode?
yeah. If it's
Yeah.
$10 a month and there are
Wow.
4 or 5 episodes,
That's a
What?
good deal.
I moved the decimal place one to the right. It's not hard.
I mean, speaking of picks of the week, by the way,
But you're a college graduate, though.
did you see my pick last week, Smoldering Tithe, already getting off to a good start? Smothering Tithe.
Smoldering Tides?
I missed out on buying
Smoldering Tides.
4 copies of the foils at like $7, and
Smoldering Tides.
that's an awesome card.
All right, so yeah, I mean,
Wait,
Breaking
how is
Bulk
that?
wants to go first.
That's not your pick of the week.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
I've got a good pick.
No, you said your pick of the week was Smothering Tides. It's not on the spreadsheet.
Oh no, it's just it was one of the things I wanted. It was one of my highlights of the set.
Yep. So, if you have access to the spreadsheet, you will be delighted that we did pick of the week in Breaking Bulk last week on a set review episode, which is something we've never done before. And we thought, hey, it'll be great. We're going to give people some extra value because we really appreciate them going to patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery and subscribing at the $10 level. And it went fine. Nothing bad happened when we gave some extra value to our $10 patrons. No one at the $5 level or below complained, so it was great. I'm glad we did an extra thing to be nice, and it absolutely didn't bite us in the ass and make me want to quit podcasting forever. So it was a great thing that we did that, and you won't convince me otherwise.
We can't even see each other in the Skype call, but I can visualize Jason's aneurysm.
No, I'm saying it was fine. No one said, "Hey, this is BS," that it's behind a paywall. Nobody said that. No one. So it was fine. We don't have a paywall.
Good to know.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
Mirage Black Rare Go.
Mirage Black
Rare Go.
Withering Boon.
That's not a rare, and I think it's from Tempest. Is it?
What?
No,
Withering Boon is a Mirage rare.
Is it a rare?
Yeah.
Mirage is the palm tree. I know things too.
I actually always thought Mirage was I always thought Withering Boon was a common or uncommon because I just see it so much. But yeah, Mirage Black Rare. It is not Black Rare. It is not Withering Boon. But good guess.
I don't know the
Withering
answer.
Boon is uncommon, apparently.
Okay.
I thought you were asking what the set symbol was for that. I know the answer to that question. Maybe you were asking something else.
I'm asking what this Mirage Black Rare non-creature card is with no reprints. It is EDH playable, so Steven might have come across it in his travels.
Carrion.
No.
I have no idea.
It
Abyssal
provides
Hunter.
a very, very unique effect to black.
Yeah, so does Withering Boon.
It does, but that is not the card because this is a rare, not an uncommon. It is a sorcery, and it says sacrifice 2 creatures to destroy target artifact for 3 mana. Phyrexian Tribute.
Oh, shoot.
So it is a black shatter effect. An effect that is normally reserved to Gate of Phyrexia, which is the one that most people use, but that one you can only use during your upkeep. Phyrexian Tribute is just throw away 2 Saprolings or toss 2 spirits or whatnot.
Send your Autocrat tokens.
Yeah, and then you destroy an artifact in mono black. So this is a card I think that might see a little bit more use in Teysa decks. Maybe, but the white already has a lot of disenchant effects. But I mean, it's just good for mono black in general. I've considered playing it in Gonti. I don't have a ton of tokens to sacrifice, but Phyrexian Tribute is around $1.50, and you can buy list it for less than that. But it's a good card that you should keep aware of because Mirage doesn't have gold, black, or silver symbols, and so this will be found in bulk when you're picking through Mirage cards.
That's Endrick Sar fodder right there.
Yes, absolutely.
Endrick Sar is not a bad pick, but it's gotten reprinted so recently, which sucks. They keep reprinting it, which is too bad because with Divine Visitation, Endrick Sar just says make angels until your dick falls off. So, like, you don't make any thralls. It's amazing.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah. I have a Teysa card also. It's also like $1.50, but it is an uncommon from a Darksteel.
From Darksteel. Is that
Decipher the
Spawning
Vault?
Pit?
Yeah, Spawning Pit. Sack a creature, put a charge counter on Spawning Pit, or sack a creature with Teysa out, put 2 counters on Spawning Pit. And then you pay a colorless mana and remove 2 charge counters from Spawning Pit to put a 2/2 spawn artifact creature token into play. With Teysa, that's pretty good because you sack a creature to put 2 counters on it, and then you take 2 counters off to put a spawn creature to play.
Do you get 2 counters?
With Teysa, if a creature dying would trigger an ability of a permanent you control, it does
that
it twice.
Count?
Yeah. A creature
No,
dying.
It's
What?
whenever.
Oh, it's not a trigger. Shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing. But if you have Anointed Procession, you get 2 tokens. So there, you can do it that way.
There you go. You got.
I thought I knew how Tesa worked. Turns out I didn't know how Spawning Pit worked, even though I'm looking right at the card. So that's fun. Anyway, yeah, Spawning Pit. It's a card. Pick it. You'll get them in bulk because I still do. And it doesn't look like a good card because everyone's like, I got all the obvious stuff out of there. But Darksteel had a lot of $1 stuff, and that set's real old. So I don't know. Pick them out of bulk, idiot. Back to you.
All right, guys. My pick this week for Breaking Bulk is, and I know you guys don't like it when I do this, but I'm going to go with the Ravnica Allegiance card. But one that people may not know about. So, Rhythm of the Wild, quote-unquote, the new fires, Wilderness Reclamation, Persistent Petitioners we talked about last week. These are the most expensive commons and uncommons in the set, and we basically all know why, right? For each of those cards we talked about a lot, and so on. But further on down the list, there's a card I want to talk about that I think will be a pick, and I think will be a long-term pick. So this is Breaking Bulk, not pick of the week, but I think Terramander, and I'm just telling you guys so you don't have to guess it because it's a pretty obvious one.
I've seen people brewing with that. It's like it's another Delver.
Yeah, exactly. Adapt 4. It's a 1/1 flyer for 1, right? So on the face, it's slightly better than Delver because it flies. Now, you're never going to flip this on turn 2. Why? I mean, I don't know. It's probably some way you could. But you're not going to flip this on turn 2 like you would a Delver. So it takes more work. But the payoff is also higher because it's Adapt 4 for 8 mana, but 1 less for each instant and sorcery in your graveyard. So by the time this happens, it's turn... Your opponent plays this on turn 1, interacts with you on turns 2 and 3 or 4 or whatever, and then the next thing you know, they just have a 5/5 flyer on your instep for 2 mana. Just by playing a normal game of Magic.
You can go turn 2, play 4 Manamorphoses, and then 4 Mutagenic Growths.
Well, it always is going to cost 1 blue, so you'd only have to pay 3. 3 Manamorphose, or 3 of either of those.
No, you play 4 Metamorphose and then 4 what's it called?
Well, I'm just saying the eighth copy doesn't actually, because it's still going to cost a blue mana. The magic number is 7. 7 instants and sorceries in your graveyard means that it costs 1 blue mana to put. So card is insane, by the way. Anyway, so that's my pick for Breaking Bulk. I don't know. I played against it in Modern the other day alongside Delver. And honestly, it seemed fine, right? So I don't know. In Legacy, they have Get Probe, make it a little easier. Or is that banned in Legacy now too?
That's banned.
No, that's out then.
Man. That's
you can
been
gut
gone
shot
for a while.
Yeah, it was gone on the last one. I was just trying to think of the last time of the Legacy decks, but yeah, it's been another couple months since then. So Terramander, though, probably going to form the backbone of a Modern deck with Delvers, maybe even Legacy. No Get Probe anymore, but still plenty of spells that work with it. So that's my pick.
Yeah, you can still use your revised power with your attacks and probes and Legacy.
You can use Get Probe and Terramander and Vintage, where Terramander is probably super playable.
That could be true. We had a Vintage tournament at my store the other day. Did you guys know that Basking Root Walla is apparently a powerhouse in Vintage?
It's not.
The survival,
Lavinia though. Lavinia's making a huge splash.
I'm just saying.
I think I said on this podcast that I recommend following a few Vintage players. I would recommend Kevin Crone and Stephen Menendian for sure. They do the So Many Insane Plays podcast. Kevin Crone lives real near to me, so he plays Vintage locally when we ever have a tournament. So it's been cool meeting him. But like following him on Twitter, he's got a lot of really insightful stuff to say about the format. And he pegged Lavinia as a card that was going to be basically Leovold tier, and I think that's really shaping up. So
I like
that's
Vintage.
Something worth knowing.
I like Vintage because it has more combat damage than most other formats in Magic, which is not what you'd expect from a format with Black Lotus and Yawgmoth's Bargain and.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I walked by.
You kill people with a lot of Mentor and Psi tokens.
Yeah, and I walked by a table.
Walking ballistas.
Yeah, I walked by a table and I saw multiple people playing the. I don't know anything about the Vintage metagame, but the Blue-Green Madness deck, I guess, is what they called it. And it was literally just playing a bunch of rooting, or Basking Root Wallas. So
it sounds like they ported over their standard decks from 1998.
No, like from what I understand though, I don't know anything about Legacy or Vintage, but I was under the impression it was a real deck, like it was a part of the format that was one of the top
I'm
8
sure it
decks
is.
or whatever.
So put this website in your rotation if you haven't already. MTG Top 8. Anytime I see a post on the finance subreddit like, why did this card go up? You type the card's name in EDH Rec. You type the card's name in MTG Top 8. 99% of your questions are going to be answered by those two searches. If it's something weird, it's like, oh, they said it on Command Zone or something like that, or some weird podcast for competitive EDH or like Modern or something like that, then someone will have to tell you. But for the most part, if something just popped up the last weekend, MTG Top 8's going to have the results. And you find some stuff that only gets played in competitive EDH that you might not have known and stuff like that. So just have a few resources that you have bookmarked, or whatever people are doing in 2019.
Sure.
Where back in my day, we bookmarked stuff. I opened up Chrome and 27 tabs popped up. It was everything.
I just open up. I just leave the same window open all the time with a billion tabs in it.
How many monitors do you have, Corbin?
I have 2 monitors. When I get my new computer set up, I'll have 3.
That's right.
I think 3 is excessive.
I don't think 3.
Did you buy 3?
I think 3 is perfect.
I did buy 3, but I canceled the order and got 2 much better monitors for the same amount of money.
There you go.
I feel like that was the play.
All
So,
right.
yeah. Listen to some people who know what they're talking about. Follow them on Twitter. They just give free advice in the form of talking about the format they like.
That's right. All right.
Plus,
no, sorry. Go
plus
ahead.
Kevin and Steven are cool dudes. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, who wants to go next?
I will.
All right.
Urza Saga, uncommon. It's got 5-6 reprints.
Urza Saga. Uncommon with a bunch of reprints.
Do we get a color?
It's blue.
Blue.
Windfall?
I'm trying to think of what has that many reprints.
Peregrine Drake?
Good guess.
It's only been reprinted a couple times, right? Not 5 or 6. That's what I'm trying to figure out here. What's been reprinted that much from that set?
That was it originally in?
Saga.
Saga originally. It's not Peregrine Drake. It's
nope.
It's a blue uncommon.
It was
Is
in 1, 2.
Is Victimize in that
Commander?
set?
Victimize is black, so.
Oh, did we get a color? I'm sorry. What was the color?
Yeah, blue.
Blue.
3 Commander sets.
Is Turnabout's not in Command?
Windfall.
I'm out of
Windfall
knowing
already.
what blue cards are in.
It was
Saga.
also in Battle Bond, and that's kind of what opened my eyes to this.
Exhaustion.
Nope.
No.
The card is Fog Bank.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, wow! I feel really dumb.
well, I don't think
No,
any of
don't,
us knew what
because-
set. No, we all knew it was worth money. We just didn't know what set it was in. I guess.
Yeah, I didn't.
I
didn't
thought
either.
Fogbank was Destiny.
Oh. Oh,
Yeah, and I was
great pick.
when looking for my pick of the week, I was looking for something that you can get a nickel for, or a dime
Yeah,
is usually
it's
what I
great.
try to
Yeah.
pick. And was shocked that that card was worth a nickel. I had to double check, and there's like a few different versions of the copy
Mhm.
that is a nickel, and the Commander one's like 21 cents.
Yeah, they killed it too. The thing, Fogbank used to be like $2. It used to buy us for $1.
Wow.
Or at least something
Well, I
closer to that,
printed it a lot.
anyways, right?
Oh,
I
it
got
was
back
Saga
into Magic.
originally. It's
I got
got
back
like
into Magic when it came
Velociraptors
out.
on it.
Yeah, they reprinted this card a bunch. I think Battle Bond might be the reprint that kills it, though.
I like the art on the Saga one. It's got Velociraptors, but they're not opening any doors, so they're not scary.
Yeah,
And you can you can get that Velociraptor art on the Commander 2011
Yep.
with the new border.
It's in the Just Guy deck.
I mean, at the risk of delving into a non-Magic tangent, I recently watched.
Oh no! Don't people turn off the podcast?
I recently
I'm
watched.
on
Listen,
sub right
listen,
now.
listen. I recently watched.
Don't do it, Corbin.
I watched Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, and the Velociraptors take it to a new level in that movie.
They do.
It's not. Have you
What
seen
do they
it?
do? They cyberbully
No,
somebody?
Jason. They don't just
Clever girl.
They don't open
They're tweeting
doors.
you.
But you get to see Chris Pratt's favorite Velociraptor fight some. It basically.
You mean Blue?
I do mean Blue, Jason. I do mean Blue. I am talking about Blue.
How the fuck do I know that?
You get to see
Why
a lot
do
of
I-
you get to see a
why
lot
do
of
I
really
know
cute
that?
interactions between Blue as a baby dinosaur and Chris Pratt as, its handler. Right? But in this movie, like you saw Jurassic World, right? And how stupid it was, blah blah blah. Okay, yeah.
did.
So it's like that turned up to an 11. They end up all the dinosaurs get loose in like the normal world. So I don't know if you saw the preview, but the preview involves Chris Pratt running down a mountain with literally a stampede of every type of dinosaur imaginable behind him as a volcano explodes, right?
As
yeah,
he's
and
running
then they're
towards
in the
a
little
cliff.
plastic
Yeah,
bubble.
that's-
The plastic bubble goes.
That's
in.
20
Yeah.
minutes into the
Yep.
movie. Like, that's not the conclusion to the movie. That's not the climax. That is halfway
Well, yeah,
through.
they're not going to give you the climax of the movie in the trailer. That'd be dumb.
Yeah, they do that all
Why
the
would they
time.
do that?
Trailers are.
Yeah. No, that was within the first half hour of the movie, and then it was gone. They're off the island, and now there's some bidding war going on. There's literally having an auction with super rich people where this guy's like, have you ever thought about getting rich? I think we can make dun 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 $4 million a dinosaur, and we have 10 of them. And it's like, that's 40 million, man. You're like managing the bad guy's like the guy who's managing the estate of the dude worth billions, and he's like, we're gonna make $40 million with an operation that only probably costs $100 million to pull off. Anyways, it's a very bad movie, but the Velociraptor is above human level intelligence. In fact, the Velociraptor might be the smartest person in the movie.
Okay.
Corbin just spent 4 minutes giving us the lowdown on a movie we could have all just seen.
But it takes longer than 4 minutes, and I saved you a lot of time. Trust me. I watched it on a plane. I saved you a lot of time. So the other thing that happened this week is that the Rules Committee for Commander, a format all of us play quite a bit, released an update to the way they're going to be doing things. So they have reached out to some prominent members of the community. Shout out to Josh Lee Kwai. I think the only person who's on the list who's been on this podcast before. But the full list you can.
Has Shivam Bot really not been?
I don't
on this
think
podcast?
he has. I don't think he's been on here. But he's one of the other people selected. So congrats to him as well.
Stibbs
has been on here. Yep. Congrats to everybody. Yeah, you're right. Stibbs has been on here. It's been a long time, but Stibbs has been on.
It's been like less than a year.
I hear you saying that.
But I don't believe that's true.
It's probably been more than. But anyway, so what they're doing is they've got I don't remember what they're calling it. Basically, the advisory committee or something.
It's not another committee.
Sure, yeah.
It's a group.
The group.
It's a
group. I see. So they're going to be giving basically just additional input to the rules committee, and I don't know what their processes are or anything like that. But I do know that our boy Jason, I would argue, one of the foremost authorities on Commander between, this podcast and what he writes about from DG Price and the 75% series, but also literally just basically the concept of it that Jason finally put words to or a title to. So I can understand, I guess.
I didn't ask Corbin to say that. I asked Corbin not to say that.
That is accurate.
Sheldon has expressed that it makes zero sense to have a finance-oriented person on the group. And if I were in the group, everyone would be like, oh, so the guy who writes finance articles knew a card was getting unbanned 2 weeks before everybody else. Cool.
Well,
oh no, you can buy Sway of the Stars, man.
Well, the thing is,
they don't need that shit in their lives. They don't need anybody.
Oh, that's how we get Prophet of Crufix unbanned.
Oh god.
Shit. Yeah,
Please,
I would.
no.
There we
They
go.
knew I would put day one. That would be So they don't want anyone misusing conflict of interest like everyone. Oh, that's a conflict of interest.
Well, and the thing is, there's lots of ways it could be mitigated.
Sheldon doesn't need a bunch of garbage from people. He doesn't want people attacking his integrity. He doesn't need that shit in his life. I'm 100% agree. And I'm probably not the most brand-friendly person either. So, there's no reason other than the fact that I write for cool stuff, along with 4 other people who also write EDH.
Yeah, but you also run, the content for EDH Rec. I mean, come on.
I think Bruce would have been a better pick if you're going to pick a cool stuff writer.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, ultimately, at the end of the day, there's going to be a ton of people they could pick, and a lot of people who are great picks, and someone's always going to be the first snub, right? I get it. I
was not snubbed.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, the thing is, from their perspective, you're right. It doesn't make sense. So I wanted to throw it out there because,
I have the dirty, stinky taint of finance.
Yeah, you have the resume for it, but not the not everything else thing. But it's pretty cool. I mean, what do you guys think it's going to do, though? I mean, is this going to make a difference? Nothing?
I think it's going to make the sniping and the crap worse, to be honest.
What do you mean exactly?
Maybe. Because I think they kind of did it so they can point to like, well, we're getting feedback from these people. They're the community's representative. But like people are going to be like, I don't know what they're going to say. People have already said some really dumb shit about it.
People will complain, and I don't think it's going to change any of the dynamics around.
Steven, what's your take on it?
Although Stibbs does want Cyclonic Rift to be banned, so I am.
Ooh, you shut your filthy mouth.
Stibbs wants.
I'll fight you right now.
Stibbs is anti-Soul Ring too.
I don't care about that.
Oh no, you're gonna fight me. What are you gonna do? Cast an 8-mana instant in blue?
It's 7, by the way, but thanks for trying.
Got him.
He's a Gaunty player.
He's got Wilderness Reclamation,
doesn't know.
bro. He's got you covered in his end step on turn.
No, it just adds an extra layer of people to complain and piss and moan. I think it might be a good idea, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's just another thing for people to complain about. They're going to be pissy that cards aren't off the list. They're going to be pissy that cards aren't on the list. And then they're going to be pissy that these are all a bunch of shills that are backing them up.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that
Wizard Shield.
we don't even.
Josh Lee Kwai is sponsored by Wizards. Therefore, Wizards has their arm in the rules committee.
And Stibbs is a contractor, so like, come on.
Meanwhile, Scott Larrabee works at Wizards. But okay, guys.
Well, I don't know how much Commander the original.
Good job, Internet. You did
the original
it.
rules committee plays these
smart.
days. So I do like the idea of them reaching out for additional feedback. And if it got Cyclonic Rift or Mana Crypt or something stupid like that banned, that would be great.
No, my God.
There's also obviously cards that could come off of the list, but
They're gonna
I would
unban.
lose so much money if Mana Crypt got banned, and I would be so happy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing. So we'll see, I guess. I lean towards... My guess is that the first sort of iteration of this committee, or whatever they're calling it, is going to lead to some changes over the next 6 months or whatever, right? You know, long term, I don't know. But I do think it's going to cause something in the short term. Or medium, or whatever you want to call that, right? The next couple cycles.
I'd like to see them move towards into a season where they begin to look to pull a few things off the list.
Yeah.
I guess you're gonna get your Leovolds every so often that are gonna come, and I get why that got. I built that. I played it. I quit halfway through the game because it was no fun, and I broke the deck apart while I made everyone play with.
It's a good idea.
I made them start over, and I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm gonna break this apart," and I realized it wasn't fun.
Yeah, the deck is.
Well, not everyone does that though.
No, I know. No, I get why it was banned. Oh, I completely get that. But I'd like to see them take off a couple things. Like, have a good, serious look and discussion about it. Even if they opened up a couple things for like a trial season almost. Like,
Well, they did that with Unstable, right? So it's possible.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it causes some headache. And again, they're going to get a bunch of people who will piss and moan, and they'll try it once. They'll get a bunch of internet idiots
Sure.
crapping on them, and then they won't do it ever again.
Yeah, I mean that could be what happens. We'll see. My commander group's actually going to be allowing silver bordered cards next. We're doing a trial run for silver bordered cards in February.
Yeah, I'm talking to my play group about unlocking some of the silver border commanders, like on a case by case.
Right. Well, that's how. Yeah, we basically, if anyone's interested in doing this, what we did, we set the ground rules. Basically, it has to be something that functions within the normal rules of Magic. No dexterity. No like high fives. Like just things that there's a lot of mechanics, especially in Unstable, that are in-game mechanics. Take contraptions, for instance, right? If someone wants to play contraptions, they have to play cards in their deck that assemble contraptions. And then those contraptions are permanents in play that you can interact with, right? That's super fair. Honestly, it doesn't even seem very good. So I'm down for letting people do it. It'll be a lot of fun to see how it goes, I think. I think there's a lot of silver bordered cards, especially from Unstable, that are perfectly fine in Commander. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, agreed.
I still think you just bring a stack of cardboard carapace and just one-shot somebody with, like, skull.
Well, that's the thing is we're doing, like I said, the way we set some ground rules, and we said everything has to be approved by the table before you start. So, like, we're trying very hard to keep it from being stupid stuff, right? So one person is playing Old Buzzbark, but we're allowing it because they only want to use it to be like the commander of their red-green dice tribal deck, right? They're not going to be they're not going to be rearranging the board states to roll dice. So like it seems fine. That should be an interesting month. See how it goes.
I just want to play Cheaty Face.
Yeah, see, not so much.
My son tries to sneak Cheaty Face in all the time. They've allowed him the right to do it as long as they don't catch him.
That's funny.
I want enough cardboard carapaces to one-shot somebody with Earl the Miststalker.
Isn't your Earl the Miststalker just a one-shot machine anyway?
If you play him right.
So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, it should be an interesting year for Commander, that's for sure. All right, let's knock out some emails here. DJ, you got a couple queued up for us?
Emails. I got emails from the past couple months because we haven't done emails in a while. Emails.
Oh my! I just realized it stands for electronic mail.
You're right, Jason.
That's what the E stands for.
You're right, man. Who knew?
Alrighty then. This one is from Andrew Crouch, new patron and question. I finally got around to canceling my XM radio subscription and decided
Nice.
I'd rather see that money put to good use, like setting chairs on fire and maintaining Jason's BAC. Do any of you
Thanks, buddy.
Do any of you have advice on insuring high-end cards? I've had conversations with my insurance provider, and I'm pretty sure that my stuff is covered, but some specific advice on cataloging and whatever work I should do to make sure they don't try to replace a dual land with a basic on a whim would be helpful. Or on a claim would be helpful.
Yeah.
Also, would you recommend insuring cards through a home or renter's policy or using a specific collector's insurance provider? Thanks, Andrew. Sent from the computer in front of my $1,200 task chair. Seriously, Corbin, spend some money. It's worth it.
I'm burning the chair this weekend, by the way, for people interested.
P.S. Jason, there's a proxy vintage event at Perfect Storm in Battle Creek on January 27th at noon, and I'm sure the crowd would appreciate seeing your deck. 50-50 on them appreciating seeing you.
That's a quality email right there. I'll answer the
Crouch is my boy from work.
I'll answer the question to an extent. I believe that you are likely fine using your homeowners or renters insurance if they have something in there. You know, you're gonna have this is gonna involve talking to whoever about your policy, but most policies will have something in there covering collectibles. But it is very important for you to have documentation of that. So step one, go ahead.
I also want to add that it can be very, very difficult to insure a Magic collection if you go into further detail about what you're doing with it, because there is a pretty big distinction between like what non-Magic people see as a collection in terms of like shoving stuff into a basement or drawer or desk and like leaving it there versus like I'm bringing this $1,200 modern deck to a room with 3,000 people in it and not having it under a lock and key. Like, that is a gigantic red flag, don't want to touch it level of risk that a lot of insurance providers are going to see when they say, oh, hey, you have a collection. What do you do with it? Oh, I got it in this binder and I just walk around with it and show other people in this big convention center. Yeah, so... I really think that there's only value in insuring that kind of stuff if you are operating on that high level of a store, or if you are actually like, I have my power in this box and don't leave it, and it doesn't leave the room kind of thing. So,
yeah, I mean, even then, right? Basically, it comes down to it's whatever you can get them to agree with, and they will fight you. Like, insurance companies exist to not pay money, right? That is quite literally the point of an insurance company.
Half of the employees work at the insurance company to get you to buy a policy.
You're right.
And the other half exists to to
not pay it. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, with the collection, I have seen some successful stories from people. So whatever it is, like DJ said, you have to make sure you're on the same page as that insurer. And if it's if your homeowner's insurance or your renter's insurance or whatever, if you don't have a good vibe from them, go with somebody who's something that's used to collectibles. But if that's what you want to do, the most important thing is to document it very seriously, right? So I have an expensive binder of stuff, right? So with that, you take pictures of it. It's one card in a sleeve in a page, right? In a slot, no back-to-back stuff. And you just get a picture of all of it. And then if you ever have to file a claim, hopefully you have replacement value on it or whatever, right? That's what you want is replacement, not whatever else, right? You don't necessarily want what you paid for them 10 years ago. You want the replacement for them today, and that's what you want in the policy.
Yep.
Now, he asked if there was a specific collectibles-based insurance you would go with. I think your homeowner's policy is going to be fine.
Yeah, I think so.
Or your renter's,
I think
whatever,
so, too.
whatever you're doing. You need to.
Yeah, and the chances are, like, if you have life insurance or something like that too. I mean, all these companies can probably do it. So even if you don't have, if you're, not in a situation where you have either of those things, it's not like you can't get your collection insured. You just get somebody to insure it. Just call around.
Yeah. I went down and did that last summer with my homeowner's insurance. And it took a while to explain to them what I wanted insured and how much I had.
Yeah.
And they were like, document everything, pictures. But they were able to, at least for the most part, make me feel like, okay, everything's covered.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I am leery about taking some of my stuff.
Yeah, that's why my expensive binder, I just don't take in. Honestly, I've thought about putting it in a safe because I just keep it. I don't look at it. I don't pull it out very often. I just keep it in my closet, right? But I may as well put it in a Firelock box or something.
That was sort of my next follow-up to this, is if your collection is small enough, and if you just have a specific group of high-end cards that you really don't want to seed for the next 10 years, just get a safe deposit box at, like, a bank.
Yeah.
And just, like, put your Power 9 in there, or put your vintage deck in there, take it out once every 4 months when you have a tournament, put it back in the safety deposit box. Like, that's going to be significantly safer than any sort of insurance company.
Yeah, plus, I don't know if this is true with those or not, but, like, we keep all of our passports or whatever at home in a firebox. Right? The idea being if there's a fire, it's not going to burn. So that's also something to look into with your stuff, whatever you choose.
Yep.
All right.
Moving on. Next email
is
Andrew Zhang, titled "Buying Cards Overseas." Dear Brainstorm Brewery, through Jason's nonstop shilling in the holiday season, I have finally become a Patreon or patron of the cast. Thanks for being a great podcast. You've helped me save.
I've heard it both ways.
Yep. You've helped me save a ton of money over the years, from Jason's EDH advice to DJ's bulkiest of bulk, and even Corbin with his standard and modern fixation. I'm visiting China and Japan during early February for the new year, and I'm wondering if there's any merit to buying cards from here. I am mainly looking to pick up modern staples, i.e. fetch lands, but I'm not sure if I'll actually be saving any money by buying cards like that there. Plus, I am worried about the whole counterfeit craze that's been going on, and I would really like to purchase new cards. Do any of you have experience buying cards from the Asian markets, and what should I be looking out for? I'm not really looking to invest or make money, just saving money to play Magic. I'm trying to pick up staples for as cheap as possible. Thanks, Andrew, sent from my knockoff Chinese iPhone.
DJ, you probably have the most experience.
Yeah, you're not really going to save money buying fetch lands or any other modern staples from China or EU or Japan or anything like that. The US market is definitely the cheapest when it comes to modern and competitive staples like that, just because we have the highest number of markets to move those kinds of products. Like the Japanese version of TCG Player is significantly smaller. MKM is a lot smaller.
Well, and
there's just like
in Japan specifically too, like a lot of their cards come from the United States.
Yeah, and there's a lot of their cards come from the US, and there's also the fact that casual Magic is a lot less of a thing overseas, and so the majority of Magic playing is that competitive grinder style just events where you just have players not looking to play casual 75 card decks against each other or whatever, but it's the hyper competitive market. And so staples are at a premium, stuff like Liliana, Last Hope, Blood Moon. I'm just listing off cards that I know are European cards, but like Ancestral Vision, Nahiri, Spell Queller, those are all a lot more expensive in Europe and Japan. Japan tends to like blue cards a lot more, so stuff like Jace. When it comes to Legacy, they like the red cards for some reason, so like Ancient Tombs and Chalice of the Void, stuff like that are Japanese cards. But you're really, if you were looking to make money off Magic, I know you're not, but for those of you who might have a trip to Asia and are looking to pick up stuff for cheap, you're going to want to look at the Commander staples, stuff like Rhystic Study, stuff like Soul Rings, Lightning Greaves. There's not going to be as big of a premium as there was a couple years ago, because the arbitrage market's sort of been figured out to an extent. But you're definitely going to want to focus on the Commander stuff if you're looking to get things for cheap, and don't focus on Modern or Standard or anything competitive, just because it's going to be more expensive overseas. So you're better off actually like here just buying off a Facebook marketplace or eBay or something like that when there's a coupon.
Yeah, I think that it's been really fascinating over the last few years to watch the arbitrage market sort of develop and then level off, and kind of watch the market remove those inefficiencies, even from something as complicated as getting cards to the literal other side of the world, over to Japan. Keep in mind, it's a lot harder flying west than east. Going over the Pacific is rough. So moving all those cards from the United States to Japan is not easy, and that's why there was a lot of money to be made from people who knew what they were doing to arbitrage that market. But DJ's right, it's starting to get figured out a little bit more now. So now you have to sort of work in the margins of each market rather than just say, I'm in a different country, it's easy now.
Yeah, it's not impossible either. I mean, I have contacts in Europe. We don't really exchange Russian foils a bunch, but I do have a couple people where it's like, I stockpiled this many Liliana the Veils, this many Blood Moons, I'll ship them to you, and then you ship me the equivalent value in Commander stuff, because I can get Fire Diamonds or whatever, Commander Spheres, that kind of stuff for pretty cheap, and that stuff's better for me. The Lilianas and Blood Moons are better for him. It works out for everybody, but not everyone can do that. But if you do plan on traveling internationally, those are the sort of different kinds of markets you're working with. Is just as a very, very broad overview, Europe and Asia are competitive, and the US is better for casual stuff.
Yeah, also keep in mind that it can be difficult, and I guess again it depends, I guess, on what you're looking for. But if you get foreign cards, say Japanese cards, yeah, they technically have a premium on them or whatever, but in sort of on the ground,
only for the competitive
that's
stuff.
what I'm saying, on the ground in practice, like most of the time if somebody brings me I'm not going to make up a card, but let's say a medium level commander card that's a couple dollars or whatever, right? Or I just love
Japanese Parallel Lives is garbage.
Exactly. And I mean,
perfect example.
I'll buy every Parallel Lives, even Japanese, at that price. But yeah, that's the idea, is that those things just, no one wants them. Stores don't want them. So, I don't know what the options are, but if you can, get the English card, not Japanese.
I'll buy one and put it in my deck and take the English Parallel Lives and sell it, and then play with the Japanese one, because I know what it says.
I've done that too.
As
but
general,
but when you scale up, that's tough.
Yeah, as a general rule of thumb, the more words that are on the card, the harder it is to move in non-English. Planeswalkers are awful. Japanese Soren Markov is like $6 compared to the English one, which is like 12 or 13. It's bad.
Yep. So there you go.
Meanwhile, Cryptic Command was attacked.
Yeah, I see people buy, and it's like I see people buy foreign boxes of cards, recent sets, or of the Commander deck, right? And it's just so bad, right? You're just bleeding a lot of value. Because
I mean, you can look at the difference if you go to Card Market, which is the European version of TCG Player. And if you look for something like, Ristic Study, and then you see, I can get these for like €6. Wow, that's great. And then you see the languages, and they're all like Spanish, French, Chinese. And then once you get down to English, it's like, they're 10 or 11 euros. That makes sense.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to the pick of the week next, guys.
Pick of the week. Pick of the week. Pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
Thanks for the emails.
Thanks for the emails. Keep them coming. We'll read them. I know it took us a little while on these, but we'll get to them. Who wants to go first?
Don't promise people that.
What?
Don't promise
read
people
emails.
that.
So if you have feedback, maybe just email to us, and maybe don't wait for someone to make it.
Okay, good point.
There's also a podcast feedback Discord channel.
That's true.
And if you're a Patreon at patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery, you have access to the Discord channel, and you have access to the podcast feedback area. What do we call the?
They're channels. They're channels, man. All right, I'll jump in here.
I'll never get used to that. Kids these days with their Pokemon video games on the Nintendo Switch box.
Back in my day, we played Pokemon on a Game Boy. Held it in your hands.
Back in my day, we played Smash Brothers on the Nintendo 64. We hooked it up through the VCR and recorded our games on a VHS tape so we could watch them later.
I bet somebody out there did that.
We did.
Oh
That's what
God. That was a true story.
Because
That's
the cord, we couldn't plug the cord directly into the TV.
Sure.
But you could plug the GameCube into the VCR and run the VCR into the TV. So since
you may
you're
as
already
well
doing that, you might
record
as
it
well
on a
record your
VHS.
match.
You're
Yeah.
so old.
Yeah.
All right. I'll jump first. I'm
not
pick
that
of the week,
old.
by the way. I'll get us going here. I've got one. I'm curious what you guys are going to think. It's not cheap as it stands right now, but I'm a little worried about reprint risk, but Birthing Pod looks to be making a move from $10 here. It's the highest price it's been since it was legal in Modern, I think, is when it was last, $18 or whatever.
I mean, it's Vanifar number 2 in the Vanifar.
Right. It's $10 right now. Vanifar is a pretty good reason for it to take off. So, I don't know what it'll do. It is a Phyrexian mana card. I don't know if it's going to settle at 15 or 20. It's really, I have to imagine there's not that much supply out there right now for Pod. But it's also hard to know if any of the recent movement was due to speculation on an unban or not, right? Even though I think nobody really thinks it's going to get unbanned in Modern. It's hard to know exactly just from looking at the graph. But with Vanifar, I like picking Birthing Pod right now.
I have a card that I think is predicated on Teysa rather than on...
Okay.
This card is called Death Render. It was most recently reprinted in a Conspiracy set, but we're talking 2 printings. One's Lore One block, one's a Conspiracy set. It's cheaper on Card Kingdom than it is on TCG Player. When I see a discrepancy like that makes me think the card is moving.
Yeah, I would agree with that probably. It's $250 on TCG Player right now.
It's $2 on
there you go.
Card Kingdom. It's like $150 for the Conspiracy version, like maybe
it's $2 for the others.
So not a lot of copies of this card. It's from a small set and then was like a rare in a set that wasn't very popular. This card's like a slam dunk in like aristocrat type stuff. So even if it's not Teysa Karlov, it's just the kind of stuff people will be playing with, aristocrat-y type stuff. We just got a bunch of new toys for those kind of decks. But I think Teysa Karlov is clearly the second most exciting commander after Vanifar. And I think Vanifar is really goddamn boring because there's one way to build it. It's this set's Muldrotha. It's like, cool, you're going to build the same deck as everyone else.
It's powerful and it's boring. There's nothing exciting about that.
I tried making a toolbox version, but the fact that it's sorcery speed means you don't really benefit from being toolboxy. If you could instant speed get an acidic slime or something like that, bang, take care of a problem permanent, but you got to do everything main phase. And if you're doing it main phase, might as well use Thornbite Staff and then whatever, I just pot change.
Yeah,
great.
Pretty much.
Because even in the deck, I wrote an article on cool stuff, and even I was like, this is a toolbox deck, and then I'm like, well, you definitely want Avenger Zendikar into Craterhoof, and I was like, oh, shit. Even I'm doing it boring. I'm doing the same shit as everybody else. So it's whatever. But I think Teysa Karlov is really exciting, and I'm more excited about it just because it's not Vanifar. It'll probably be the second most exciting and most built commander. It's the most built one on EDH Rec right now, but I think it's gonna be Vanifar long term. But Death Render's just a really broken card, and you get 2 activations with Teysa out. So
there you go.
That's the thing.
Steven, DJ, who wants to go next?
I'll go. I'll swing. I was tossed up between 2 picks in 2 different directions, but Jason really got me going towards Teysa. When I saw that card spoiled, I was very excited. Very open-ended. You can go in a few different directions with her. And one of the cards that would fit in both the directions I thought about is Wormcoil Engine. You can get it anywhere between 18 and 20 right now, so it's kind of it's a little more expensive, but yeah, it is. But both ways that Teysa is really going to be built, Wormcoil goes in both those directions. What's better than 2 tokens? 4 tokens. What's better than having one of them have lifelink? Have 4 of them have lifelink. So it's a high buy-in, but that card's getting put in that deck. You're going to fish it back out of your yard. You're going to play it again. You're not even going to kill it yourself. You're going to just swing in and let them do it for you. I think that card is not a card that's going to be $40 soon, but it is a card that's going to be $25 or $27. So get it when they're 17.
That goes infinite with the Recurring Nightmare and Phyrexian Altar, doesn't it?
Recurring Nightmare is banned in EDH.
Oh, yeah, it is.
But otherwise, yes. Hey, Corbin, what did DJ say to make fun of you for saying Get Probe was legal and modern? Can you say that back to him for
Get
the
him.
recurring nightmare?
Get him now.
Look, I like
Get
to be
him.
above the fray. I don't really need to get down on that level and start slinging.
That's why you just get thrown under the bus. all
I'm
the
just
time.
kidding. DJ's a dummy.
See? Jason couldn't let it go by. He came in there for it.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
All right. DJ, do you have a pick this week?
I was wrong about a card interaction tonight, but I got away with it.
DJ, what do you got?
KCI got banned today.
It did.
which
Oh,
a
we
lot
didn't
of
even
you were
talk about that,
expecting
by the way.
Us to talk about.
Doesn't
I kind of forgot about it. Here's my prediction for Modern. It's just going to be the same. Like, banning KCI is...
Here's my prediction from Modern. Everyone that was bitching about KCI is going to bitch about something
Well,
else.
the thing is, I think it'll open up some sideboard spots for decks, which actually does matter in Modern to help combat all the other broken stuff. So I think this is a big win for Modern. I would not be opposed to a larger shakeup myself that involved Ancient Stirrings and Faithless Mox Opal or whatever you want to talk about on those angles. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I can understand Wizards really not wanting to mess with, the format or affinity players. Everyone who has their Mox Opals is a pretty big contingent of people now. So they took the safe route. They banned KCI. The format is going to... So few people played KCI. It was obviously very good, but so few people in a given room played it because of everything that it was. I don't know that it being gone is going to shake up Modern or anything, right? I think just removes one GP Boogeyman deck. So that's my take on it. Not a lot going on, but continue, DJ.
So I am not a Modern expert, but I have pet cards just like everyone else. Cough, Restore Balance, and this is a card that I think could be better after the KCI ban. But even if it's not immediately overpowering and taking over the format, I still think it is a very strong long-term pick at $1.
Okay.
And that is Master Thopterus, because that card has some strong words on it, and it has solid power toughness. And it's legendary. It works with both of the Moxes that are legal in Modern, Amber and Opal. And I think there could be some silly deck that plays Psy, Arayo, Mox Amber maybe Mox Opal. Maybe it's the replacement for KCI where we see some sort of crazy loop deck go. Maybe it's the shell to a Thopter Sword deck with Ensnaring Bridge, because Ensnaring Bridge could get better with more Phoenix decks coming around. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like Master Thopterus. Just because it is a value engine in itself. It's a card draw engine. It's got a lot of powerful stuff going on, and it's $1. I mean, it's core 19 rare, and it is $1 whole to buy in. Yeah.
All right.
Just a good
Yeah,
card. Makes
absolutely.
dudes, draws cards, engine potential, legendary. A lot of stuff going on there.
I just
$1.
looked it up on TCG Player in order to get any shipped to you. They had a bunch at $1, but they're selling them one of. So if you want, so I clicked on the 4 or more, you're hitting $1.73 for a
A
rare.
little annoying.
No, I know. I have 30. That's the one that I have like 37 of in my cart, and I'm just like kind of hedging my whether or not I want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
From what's the store name? Yeah, it's from Direct. So.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, Steven, thanks again for coming on the podcast, man. Is there anything you want to touch on we didn't talk about, or anything you want to shout out before we go this week?
No, so just thank you for having me on the cast. Love being on here as always.
Yeah, man, it's always
Good.
fun.
There's nothing else we wanted to talk about anyway. So. works out for everyone, doesn't it?
Unless you guys want to talk about pterodactyls or something. I don't know.
After hours for that one, buddy.
After hours.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. This is Brainstorm Brewery, and you know what? We talked a lot of Magic this week. Want the rest of it, go check out the app. Everybody, thank you for listening. We will see you next time.